It's going good. Going good. The kids are coming in, working hard, and just grinding away through the summer workouts and all that stuff.
How are you feeling in that chair?
It's good. It's good to be back, and good to have a chance to have this opportunity. Where I played and to come back and coach here again. So that's an awesome deal.
When did you first hear about the opening?
I first heard about it. It would have been sometime there in the winter time. I'm not sure exactly what month, but just had heard through people talking and things like that that the spot was available.
And was it something that you jumped on right away, or you kind of thought about it for a minute, or?
Kind of thought about it for a minute, but when I heard it, obviously it was a intriguing thing, and because from being here and going to school here and all that kind of stuff, it was something that was like, oh, okay, and then kind of got the wheels turning on, that'd be a fun place to be able to go back and have the opportunity to coach where I went to school and everything. So.
And I understand you were at Somerset.
Yes.
Before this with your dad, right?
Right.
So has he given you any tips at all? Have you talked to Dad at all on what this is like being a head coach for the first time?
Yeah, and you learn just by watching a lot of those things, and along the way pick up things, seeing things at a high school and then again at a college level and professional level. But certainly learned a lot from Sonny, having done this for a long time. If he goes, I want to say 2 or 3 more years, he'll have 50 years of coaching, at the high school level, and so it's a lot of experience.
And now you bring an offensive mind here to Mission. The Eagles were very competitive last year. They were in a lot of games. The secondary was really good with guys like Mark Garcia, Steve DeLeon. I called them the Legion of Zoom last year,
right,
because they forced a lot of turnovers. Those guys are gone now.
Right.
So let's talk about the secondary and who's going to be the next guy up, and what do you see in spring ball?
Well, these guys have worked really hard, and there's a few guys still returning from that squad. Obviously, they lost some key players, and you mentioned Mark, and some of those guys did a really good job for them. Steven DeLeon is obviously still back, who was a great player for him last year in the linebacking core. And then you have Arispe, who's a secondary safety, and he played some for him. I think he got injured along the way, and so didn't play as much as the year went on. And then Omar Vera, is a guy that played corner and things like that for him last year. I think he played opposite of Mark, in the secondary. And so got a few guys back from that. And the thing that's good is they understand what that kind of play is like, and so they haven't played in that system and been around those guys. They understand the intensity and all those things, and they've done a great job this spring in spring football as well as in the 7-on-7. Making a lot of plays there too.
What did you see in spring ball? Any strengths, any weaknesses, things you guys might want to focus on before 2-a-days?
I think these guys, obviously, they're learning a new system, both sides of the ball, terminology and all those things. But I think they've done a great job of picking up the new system. And, we're as coaches new coming in, learning them and seeing what strengths they have and things like that. And you see some things play out through the spring, and when you put the pads on, you kind of find some things out about your guys a little bit more that way than being out there in shorts and a t-shirt. And we're still learning them, through this process in the summer, and seeing their work ethic and all those things and the self-motivation. And we'll continue to learn them and know more about these guys as we go through the year. But they've done an excellent job and been very committed, disciplined, respectful kids, and they're working really hard right now.
And how many boards are coming back on the offensive end?
You know what? I haven't looked to see exactly what the numbers are of returning offense and defense or anything like that. I just know of 3 or 4 or 5 guys either side of the ball that I know played for him last year. Outside of that, I don't know exactly every role each one of them played and all that kind of stuff and how much they played. But and watching a little bit of the film, you see some of the guys that were playing, but I don't know that exact number.
So any idea on any early projections on some position battles or anything like that?
I wouldn't say there's battles. I think that when I watch us in 7-on-7 right now, I think we have a good crew of skill guys that are rotating in, multiple guys playing a position, and they've done a good job of rotating there. And so I think we have a number of quality guys that can go out there and be effective. And so I'm excited about that. I wouldn't say necessarily competitive battle that way. I think we have a good rotation going, and so I'm excited that we have several quality guys that can go out there and be effective.
Mm-hmm. Without giving too much away, is there a big secret to what kind of offense you're going to run? Are you guys going to throw it, run it, balance?
I don't think there's any kind of big secret. It'll be a pro style offense. Okay. And we do multiple things. We throw it. We have some run game stuff, and obviously all the different things. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But we try to be multiple, and that way we're diverse enough to where we can attack how we want to attack, based on what we're seeing on the defense. And so, that's kind of where we're at with that. But we like to throw the ball.
Let's talk about this district, 36A. We just had realignment and nothing's changed in 36A. Coach Flores, and I think there's a new coach over at La Jolla too. So some relatively new coaches in this district, so probably the youngest district as far as coaches go. But it's exciting, and along with that is also, in my opinion, a wide open district. And I think all the coaches can agree that they can take a deep breath now that Trevor Spates is out of this district.
Right,
and he's gone.
Right, yep.
So this district is pretty much wide open. The La Jolla's always a wild card. Right. You got Mackay over there is always tough. Memorial's got a couple guys back. Mm-hmm. And then there are the Eagles, who in my mind could be a dark horse to win this district because it's so wide open and you guys got back on the offense and stuff like that. Right. So what are your thoughts on the district, and have you talked to Coach Flores and Brewer and Littleton and those guys?
Obviously I've met all those guys and in different meetings and things like that and talk, but nobody talks in real detail like that, other than the fact what you're saying. The things I've heard is the district being kind of a wide open district this year, with, like you said, Memorial had some really standout athletes last year, and kind of were maybe a notch above some of the other teams, and some of those guys graduated. Obviously they got a great program, and so they'll reload and all those things, and their systems are in place, and so there'll always be a challenge, but those are things I've heard is and not having been down here in this district and playing these teams, but people have said district could be kind of wide open, and for our part we're just trying to work hard and get our team as good as we can get and go out and play and see where we fall. But the kids are working hard. They're buying into what we're asking them to do, and that's all you can ask, and then we'll go put the product on the field in the fall and see where we're at.
And this district is kind of unique, really in all sports, because I'll talk to the basketball coaches in 36A, and they'll say it's always harder for us to get out of the bye district because we get the 29 6A, we get the Laredo schools,
right? While
the Valley will play the Valley, and it'll be a little bit easier for them to get out. So have you kind of taken a peek on what's west of us with Alexander, United South, and stuff like that?
I've seen a little bit of them having played. The last school I was at, Somerset, our district was the Laredo schools, but the 5A Laredo schools.
So Nixon.
However, some of those played some of the 6As and things like that. So you see a little bit on film, and so not that we've played them and things like that to where you really know much about them, but you see them a little bit on film, and you can tell they're quality teams, and they do a good job. I know Laredo Alexander has come on lately, and always play quality ball. And Laredo United, has been a standout team for years, and Coach Sanchez does a great job down there with them, and so it's a real challenge when you go play those guys. That's for sure.
So what would you say would be the expectations, the goals here for the Eagles?
Well, it's like I said. Right now, we're in that one day at a time grind, and then when we hit 2-a-days, it'll still be that, and you get into the to the season, it'll be that one game at a time type mentality. And so I don't know that we've set expectations and all those things, other than we want to get as much out of these guys as we can and get as good as we can get wherever that may be. And obviously we're going to go into every game feeling like we got a chance to win and go compete and play to win. Where we fall with that, we don't know yet, and it's that's the uncertainty of not having been down here and played to know exactly, okay, where do we fit and things like that, to where to set a standard and where to set a goal. But I know this: we want to play to win, and we want to take the field to win every game we play. I don't, but right now I don't know where we stack up exactly down here. But we're certainly gonna go out there and give it everything we got to do it.
So I understand you guys' first non-district game is against Mission Vets.
It's their second one.
Second one?
Yes.
Who are you all open with?
We have played PSJ North, and I know that's going to be a tough game.
Okay.
They know they got a lot of guys back and been a tough team here, and
it's going to be
a challenge.
And it's really an inaugural game for you and Coach Kaufman.
Right.
He was the OC at Memorial. Now he's a first-year coach at North.
Right.
So
right.
It's going to be kind of both y'all's
first
games.
Yeah. So that'll be neat, and and like I said, I know it's going to be a real challenge. I know they have a lot of guys back and have done. Coach Pena had done a real good job over there, and got them really competitive, and so that's going to be a real challenge right out of the gates. And then we play Vets, which is always a big game, and so we're going to have some real challenging games early. So we'll know exactly where we're at when we head into district, because our schedule. We're gonna have some good challenges.
Both playoff teams from last year.
Right, exactly.
Has any of the local people? How is that like? How's that been like for you coming back home? Has any old friends come out and said, "Hey, welcome back"? And your Eagle guys say, "You best beat Patriots." On is there any fun with that? Or
yeah, there's been some fun. I've run into several guys I played with back then, and actually some of the guys that I played with coach over there at Vets now,
okay.
and Coach Gilpin coached with my dad here and all that, and so those guys are good friends of mine, and we've had some fun with that and stuff. But I know that it sounds like it's pretty hardcore rivalry now, and but we've had a good time with it, and it'll be a fun game, and it's a good experience for these kids playing. I'm sure the crowd will be there and be packed, and all that going on, a lot of excitement and stuff, and so it'll be a fun game.
This shirt isn't intentional, by the way.
Yeah.
I just have it right. And I see your picture up there.
That's right. Yeah.
And I remember watching you play with Philly.
Right.
So have the kids asked you any types of questions like, "Coach, what was it like playing for Andy Reid in the NFL?" Or?
Yeah, you get some of them ask, well, what was it like playing in the NFL and all those things, and I just tell them, man, it was a lot of fun. It really was. And you're just playing the game you love to play and doing something you love to do every day, and there's work involved, and it's a process and all those things, but that process is fun, when you enjoy doing what you do, and that's why I try to encourage these guys is, you signed up for a reason because you like to play, and so have fun with that process that goes along with it, and being a part of a team and all those things, and so but yeah, it was a lot of fun getting a chance to play, and a lot of good players I played with, played on great teams, got to go to a Super Bowl, all those things, some great memories.
What was it, when was it that you realized I'm in the NFL? When did it click? Was it your first NFL game? Was it the first time you went under center? Or when was that?
You know what? I think probably the first mini camp. It hits you pretty quick because you think you're playing pretty fast and pretty fast guys and things like that. When you go on to play college ball, Colorado, we were a pretty good team whenever I was there and played with a lot of great players and against great players. But the NFL game's a whole nother level, and the speed of the game and all those things, and you find out right away that it's another level, and it's there's another approach that you take to it. There's a much higher level of expectation in the details and the way you play and in the way you handle yourself and do everything. Mm-hmm. And in truly, you got to be a professional. You know what I mean? In the way, and you see and you hear all the time about some guys that are pretty good players, but they're not professionals and they don't handle things right. They don't last. You know what I mean? And some of those guys, you hear about them in the news, and there's a different level there in terms of being a professional.
So you're bringing all that experience here to Mission, and that football mind where you've been in the NFL, you know what it's like. So you're instilling that in these kids and that hard work ethic.
I try to give them some things that I've learned along the way, and it's what I tell them. I'm not telling them things that's just coming from me. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking to them from experiences, things I've seen, things I know, things that somebody once told me, that helped me along the way to have success. So when I'm talking to them, it's not just me talking to them, it's things that I learned along the way from somebody else that helped me give me direction. Mm-hmm. And so I try to give them as much as I can, anything I can that I think can help them, direct them to be the best they can be. That's what I'm trying to do.
Has anybody reached out to you that you have the head coaching job?
In terms of who?
In the NFL, any old teammates?
No, mostly my brother and them, and talk to those guys, and a lot of the guys that I coach with up there in the high school ranks and stuff like that. But I stay in touch with some guys that I played with and all that, and they those guys know what I'm doing and everything like that, and excited, because everybody has a hometown. You know what I mean? And those guys that played on there, they know what it's like to go back to your hometown. You know what I mean? And it's a special thing, and so they're excited for me to have the opportunity to go coach back in your hometown is even that much more special. So.
The last question: What can we expect in a whole? And it's one blueprint from the Eagles next season.
We're gonna. I hopefully what you see is a team that will go out there and get after it from start to finish. And that's what we want to preach, and that they're gonna do it the right way, do it with class, and go get after it, and have respect for the game while they do it.